Hey guys, welcome to the Reds Projects. This episode I'm going to be giving you an update on the Ford Ute. I've been doing a bunch of stuff off camera. It's been off the road for like 5-6 weeks. I've just been doing lots of little things. So I wanted to make an update video to show you what I've been doing. But have a look at this. Have a look at this guy. Just comes crawling back. It's kind of awkward. It's almost like your ex has turned up to your wedding. But nah, it's all good. Michael, the new owner of the XR6, he's dropped it off for me to help him sort out a roadie for him. So he's done a bunch of the stuff that I was too lazy to do. So I'm going to sort out a roadie for him and help him out because we get along really well, and he's a good bloke. So I'm going to help him get into his name. That's kind of cool to see this back. But this episode's going to be all about this. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to take the tarp off. I'm going to show you what you can see in the thumbnail and talk about what I've done. Alright, so the biggest, most obvious change is I put intercooler on it finally. So this is just a big water to air intercooler I got off eBay. I tried to get the biggest one that would fit in the space and not be awkward to run pipes and stuff to. But yeah, it's worked out pretty well. I've got a temp sensor before the intercooler and a temp sensor after the intercooler. And so far, with with a little bit of street driving, it's doing a very, very good job. So I'll post up some screenshots or some subtitles. I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but it was doing a very good job. And that's just with water. So if you follow the lines back, well, actually got a little electric pump there. We follow the lines back. It goes to a 10-litre fuel cell that I used to have in the car as a fuel tank, and there's like a surge tank, but I've repurposed it as a water tank, ice box, whatever you want to call it. It's a 10-litre cell, and because of the size of the cap, it's got a really big opening, so it's pretty easy to get ice into it, and it fits in this space really well. And obviously having weight back here behind the axle has got to help it with traction a little bit. I was going to put it there or put a bigger one there, but this one just fit in the corner nicely here, so I'll leave that real estate free for now because I'm not sure what else I'm going to put in the car, but it's good to have that space just sitting there. Alright, what else have I done? You can see the wiring. I've tidied up a lot of wiring, so both pumps are wired in now. And they've got their own separate wires coming from the front. Before, I just had one pump running off the factory loom, and I'm not sure what that was rated to, but it was being a bit funny at some point. So it's got nice big fat wires running all the way onto the dash with their own relays and stuff. Part of the reason why I was off the road for 5-6 weeks was wiring. I did lots and lots of wiring. I fixed a lot of, or not fixed, but I improved a lot of wiring, and just tried to make it better. You can see a whole bunch of wires down there. So, and I added a bunch of things for data and stuff as well. Probably my most favorite part of all the wiring is getting this hooked up, which I'll show you in a second, but that's wired in now. Come over this side, I've got a 4-port Mac valve wired in, plumbed in, all working, and it works so far. I've thrown a little bit of duty cycle at it, and it just works. Simple. So I think I threw about 30% duty cycle at it. It's got a 6 pound. It's on wastegate to make 6 pounds of boost. With 30% duty cycle, I think it made 10 or 11. So it's working perfectly at the moment, which I'm looking forward to putting on the dyno and cranking that up and making some big boost out of it. But yeah, in the back here, I think we're pretty much done. Alright, so in the interior, you see everything pretty much looks the same. I've got a couple of different labels and a couple of different switches now. So I used to have a fuel pump, have a switch for the fuel pump. Now the fuel pump's done through the Holly. And you can see these two at the end are new. So boost puts power to the Mac valve. So pretty much if I have this turned off, I'm on wastegate pressure. If I turn it on, it gives power to the Mac valve, and then whatever duty cycle I've got in the tune, it will pulse that. So for example, now I think it's 30 or 35%. So I basically have wastegate pressure, which is 6 psi, or I have like 10 or 11 psi if I flick the switch. Water is the water pump for the intercooler. I probably should zoom in. There we go, that's better. Yeah, water pump for the intercooler. So basically, if I want to drive fast, I just flick those two switches on the left, turn the boost controller on, turn the water pump on, and it definitely goes faster. So that's kind of cool having two power levels. And I want to show you my favorite gauge. So here the fuel pump's running, the fuel pump. But that one in the bottom left there, that is by far my favorite gauge, because I've never had a fuel gauge in this car before, ever. So the fact I could wire up the fuel gauge into the Holly has made me very, very happy. So normally you can't do that with a Holly Terminator, because the Terminators don't have a thermistor inputs. But because I installed a Holly CAN bus I/O module, they allow thermistor inputs. So that's why I've got the fuel gauge. And if I zoom out a little bit, you see on that top row, if the lighting's good, you can see I've got the top left is manifold air temp. That's the one in the elbow. Pre-intercooler, post-intercooler. And I've got 3 air temps there that I can look at, which is very interesting with the intercooler, and it shows how good the intercooler works and all that sort of stuff. So because I got the I/O module, I've got that data now as well. So I'm very happy about all that stuff. Let's put it back on the other screen. So yeah, to make that all possible, we'll go on the passenger side and I'll show you what I've done behind the glove box. Alright, so with the glove box out of the way, you can see all my wiring in there. Now don't look too close, there's some stuff I'm not proud of, and the stuff I'm proud of will probably make you sick. But you can see, got Terminator in there, got the I/O module, got a bunch of relays up top, and some fuses and stuff. Also, I've got that guy right there. Let me zoom in. That guy. That is a solid state relay, and that does my trans brake now. And that's because you come over here, got a couple extra buttons here now. So this is trans brake, because my trans brake is my reverse. So if I have to reverse onto the dyno or into the shed or into an awkward parking spot, I flick the switch so that I can have both hands on the wheel. But when I go to race it, I've got, this is the trans brake, this button here, and this guy here is the bump, which I have tested. It does work. I just need to play with the settings a bit, and it's a bit hard, especially here on the rocks and stuff, like to be able to hold it on the two-step and work out a bump setting that works well. But I've been playing with that a little bit and it does work. I just need to fine-tune it a bit. So that's why I've got the solid state relay, because you can PWM it and use it for bump. The main things I've done, just besides tidying up some wiring, getting rid of some stuff, I also have fuel pump stuff over there. So they've got their own separate big power wires and stuff, and that's all better. Like I said, just redoing a bunch of stuff behind here. The wires were a bit messy and stuff, so I just redid all of that, and just wiring. It's just, I'll come out here and spend a day out here and just like not get a hell of a lot done. There's still more I want to tidy up. Once you jam everything in there, it looks fairly messy, so I'd like to do it better again. But yeah, it's good the way it is. What else have I done? I did run a big power wire to the front. Let's have a look at that quickly. All right, so nothing's really changed much under here. One thing I did, which is not very exciting, is I ran a bigger power wire to behind the dash. So this used to be what do you call it? A 8 gauge amplifier wire. I had the fuse right here, and it ran through and it powered a bunch of those relays that you're seeing. Adding the extra wires for the extra relays for the fuel pumps and for the trans brake, I realized I was probably like that 8 gauge wire was too small, so now I've gone to a 2 gauge, this big boy, which is wrapped up nice so you can't even see it. Goes to a big old fuse down there, and runs through its own little grommet through there, and that goes to a big stud right near all the relays and stuff, and I use it to power a bunch of things, so it gives me a good power source to add things in the future. But yeah, nothing else has really changed here. After looking at some of the data from the air temp sensors, I wouldn't mind moving this into the pipe before the throttle body, just because it shows some weird numbers, but honestly it's not that big of a deal. Now with the intercooler, this is not getting hot enough to pull timing or anything, so it's not really a big deal for me. But yeah, everything here looks pretty much the same. Alright, so in quick summary, fitted intercooler with water tank, oil, water pump, all that stuff. Fitted a boost controller, the 4-port Mac valve, wired in, set that up in the Holly, that all works. Changed some wiring around, set up a solid state relay for trans brake so I can do bump or staging as Holly calls it, and just did a lot of boring tidying up of wiring and wired in my second fuel pump and all that sort of stuff. So all important things I need to do. There is some more stuff I want to do. I need to start adding some pressure sensors to this car. So the Holly Terminator has plugs for fuel pressure and oil pressure. I'm just not using them at the moment because I don't have sensors. So I'm gonna get some sensors for those so I can data log fuel pressure and oil pressure. It's very important. I would like to also add some pressure sensors in the back where the turbo is. I'd like to do EMAP or drive pressure or back pressure or whatever you want to call it, but I want to measure the pressure of the exhaust before the turbo, because that is a very good indication of when you need to get a bigger turbo, is the pressure there will skyrocket. I would also like to do pre-intercooler pressure and maybe post-intercooler pressure. I'll put a bung there for that as well, just so you can see how much pressure you're losing over the intercooler, because the intercoolers are always a restriction. Even very good ones have some restrictions, so if I can measure pressure before and after, that would be cool as well. So I would also like to get a tail shaft sensor, a speed sensor, a tail shaft speed sensor, because I could probably set it up to be a speedo, but more importantly, you can set it up to see, like, number one, how much your converter is slipping. So when you're in top gear, if you've got engine RPM and tail shaft RPM, you know, you can calculate exactly how much converter slip you've got, which I'll probably go run into the issue where that converter is going to be too loose and it's going to be slipping a lot. So it'd be good to get that data. That'll help the torque converter builder to build you a new converter. So that's pretty important in my eyes. And I'd also be able to do boost by speed, which would be really good in this car because it doesn't need any more than wastegate in first gear down low on the rev range, but up top I'm sure you can pour in the boost and make it scary fast. So I'd also like to set up tail shaft sensor. That isn't as important, but I would like to get one in the future. But yeah, if I get a couple pressure sensors on it, we'll put it on the dyno, and we'll try and make some decent power with this thing. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.